Have questions about your pets? Looking for your next forever friend? We've got you covered. This is Pet Connection with Energy 95.3. Now, here's Erik Fox.
Another beautiful Wednesday morning here in the Valley, and welcome again to another edition of Pet Connection. My name is Erik Fox, live here from Energy 95.3. Joined on the other side, as always, by the amazing team over at Kern County Animal Services. Today joined by Nick, Marissa, and a lovely animal who's a lap dog partial right there, Carlita. What can you tell us about Carlita?
Well, this beautiful girl, Carlita, she's about 1.5 years old. She's a bit on the shy side, as you might be able to tell, but she's definitely going to need a family that can give her some time to adjust. She's super scared. Most dogs, we seems like we say this every week, but most dogs that come into the shelter, it's a scary environment for them. Understandably, there's all kinds of new smells and sounds and people, and it's very overstimulating for them. So Carlita is not immune to that, and she's just adjusting now to shelter life and to on-camera life. So she's going to need somebody with some patience to help her relax when she gets into her new home. But she's been good with other dogs. She's been in the play area, and she does try to interact with the other dogs. But she's a little unsure of herself around other dogs. But I'm sure once she gets into your home and has some time to adjust, she will probably start to show her true colors.
So what are some good tips? Because we have had some shy animals that we featured before. What are good tips maybe when you have an animal like Carlita come into the home that maybe needs a little more time? What are some good ways to bring them in and make them feel safe, comfortable, and maybe get out of that shyness?
Yeah, so goodness gracious, there's a whole lot of them. And I think a lot depends on your lifestyle and your home. One of the biggest factors is if you have other dogs in your home. Mm-hmm. So we always recommend, if you have other dogs in your home, you're bringing home a shelter animal, really any other animal, is to do a controlled introduction, kind of phase them in to getting to know themselves, and don't just throw them into a room and have them settle their differences. It always should be controlled. Feed them separately, separate toys, separate bowls. Animals in the home can be very territorial. Animals coming from the shelter could also be resource guarding. So it's always a good idea to do a controlled, phased-in introduction. But in a single dog home or cat home, it's always a good idea to have patience. Let them have time to adjust. If they're not coming out of their shell immediately and falling all over themselves to greet you and your family when you come home, that's just their natural adjustment as they come home from shelter life. Gotcha. It's always a good idea that when you adopt a pet, whether from our shelter or any shelter, that if they had toys, blankets, or any kind of belongings at the shelter, ask if those can go with you, because that helps in easing the transition to a shelter environment. Dogs are very visceral creatures. They hear, smell, and see much better than we do. So when they have a blanket or a bed or a toy, it has their scent on it, and that scent gives them some comfort. So it's always important to leave them with their own toys, their own blankets, have their own space in your home that can be non-threatening to them, just to allow them to slowly interact with their environment in your house. And those are just a few things to help ease the transition. Shelter dogs are wonderful dogs, just like any other, and they just need a little help when transitioning out of the shelter.
Well, Carlita's got a lot of love, and we got the information right there on the screen. A1140389, 1.5-year-old female. Just lots of love to give. Just going to need a little patience, but definitely Carlita needs to get that home. 868-7120, the number you see right above Nick and Marissa's head right there. That's the number. Contact them, and let's get Carlita home. Carlita needs a home. Carlita's got a lot of love to give. A little patience with her, but I think she's going to provide you with just love for a long, long time. So that is Carlita. Now, Nick, while we get ready to meet our next friend, we keep talking about adoptions. Obviously, adoption is such a huge part of the process here. Can you maybe give a quick little overview of what that process maybe look like for someone who wants to maybe meet one of these new forever friends?
Sure. Like any other business, we've had to change and adapt a lot of what we do to post-pandemic life, or current pandemic life, really. But so adoption is a little bit different than it was maybe some folks might remember pre-pandemic. Before the pandemic, you just come down when we're open, walk through the kennels, see an animal that maybe is a good fit for your family and your lifestyle, ask to maybe see the animal outside of the kennel, and we would oblige. Things are a little bit different now. We have to take precautions. Some of those precautions are appointment based. So if you come down to the shelter, you can make an appointment in advance for a lot of our services on our website, KernCountyAnimalServices.org. We do have a check-in process if you do come into the shelter without an appointment. There's a pretty simple process where if you see an animal that might be a good fit for you, there's a pretty simple process to consider foster as a way to get to know the animal in your home environment. The difference between foster and adoption is permanent, man. You're giving that dog or cat, hi Moose, a permanent home, and we hope that it stays in your home forever. Foster is a little bit different. It's kind of like a rental. Foster is it's our way of getting animals that really need to leave our shelter because of what we just said, like about Carlita. It's a very stressful environment. Foster allows us to get animals out of our shelter a lot sooner, but the animals are still the county's property. You're just literally providing some warmth and love and a good home environment for the animals to adjust. And if the foster works out, then it can transition to a permanent adoption. So adoption is always an option, but if you come down and make a connection, foster is also an option. All of our animals are available on our website too, KernCountyAnimalServices.org.
And we got that information roll along the screen right there. Fostering, definitely a great way to also maybe see if your kids have been bugging you to get a pet. That's definitely another way to see maybe, how the interaction is and how they are going to deal with it too. So that is awesome. Moose is ready for his little adventure time there. So let's go meet Moose there, who's joining us right now.
The moose is loose. So Marissa has with her Moose. Moose is an older boy. He's about 6 years old. He's a very large breed dog. He's a Rottie mix, Rottweiler mix. We like to say, though, the breeds don't matter. It's the dog's demeanor that matters. But he's a big boy. He's over 80 pounds, almost 85 pounds. He's super sweet, very friendly, loves just about everybody he comes across. Came into our shelter in March. He's been here it'll be a month next week. And again, just like Carlita, Moose might be a foster candidate if you want to see how he works out. We even have a program called Streets of Bakersfield, where if you see an animal like Moose that you think might be a good fit, but maybe you don't have the round-the-clock care in your home environment, maybe you just want a dog to go and get a puppuccino at Starbucks, or maybe go for a walk, out at Lake Ming, or something. You just want to take a pet out, one of our shelter pets out for a couple hours. It helps our pets and it helps our community. So that's an option too for Moose and for any of our shelter animals. But we think Moose is going to be a really cool family pet. Just super sweet, very outgoing. It does very well with, I don't know if you heard Marissa whisper it to me, but she said that Moose does really well with other dogs too. So that's good to know.
So definitely dog friendly. So if you do have dogs in your home already, Moose would be probably a good candidate right there. And the information saying already good for walks. So Moose, get on a leash and let the moose be loose, because definitely wants to give that love to you big time. That information right there on the screen. I know he's kind of hanging out below it. So Moose is kind of doing the little sensor bar here. A113-9698. And Moose is definitely needs some love. Going to give some love. Big puppy hugs. Definitely big puppy hugs. And like I always say here, any dog's a lap dog. as long as they get on the lap. So you can definitely make Moose still a nice little lap dog for you. The number scrolling at the bottom, 868-7120. And of course, that website to get more information and connect up with all those beautiful animals. Nick, Marissa, I appreciate the time once again. We met Carlita, a little shy, but a little patience and a little time will definitely come around. And Moose, which is chilling down towards the bottom, big boy, who I think would be a great one to go out to, like they said, Lake Ming, go do some hiking, go do some help us lose the quarantine 15 too by bringing Moose on the loose and go wherever you are. Nick, Marissa, I appreciate the time as always. Once again, call them, the phone number right over their head, 868-7120, 868-7120. And we'll check in with you guys in a couple weeks once again, as we meet some more forever friends right here with Energy 95.3's Pet Connection.